The Major has just ended, which means something in the map pool has to change. We're still not sure what map will be replaced for Dust 2, but Valve added some major adjustments to Nuke, so it's probably free from the firing line. That's a different discussion to be had, as right now we just want to look at what's new on Nuke. So the outer catwalk has been removed completely. Previously it loops all the way around, giving access to heaven, and before that on the old Nuke it was just on the CT side. This is a pretty drastic change as it removes the possibility of terrorists gaining quick control of heaven. At the same time, however, outside becomes easier to take with one less angle to deal with on catwalk. In the past it was common for CTs to get early picks with an AWP peeking the cross to blue. This also frees up a smoke for the T side, which used to land on the edge of catwalk. Ultimately, this change removes a lot of options on Nuke and makes it a bit more linear. The CT side will be able to understand where the enemy is likely to be at certain timings, making the map seem less chaotic. They also removed the old railing leading up to silo for the jump. When I read this, I thought they had implemented the strafe jump again, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, as you have to jump on this unit to get across. Other changes to outside include removing some of these smaller crates, slightly rotating blue, and completely blocking off the old back steps. Back steps was a ridiculous angle to clear when taking control of outside, and all of these changes clearly aim to simplify the map control process for the terrorist side. This is a small adjustment, but the fence at CT spawn has been replaced with solid white walls. This is to increase visibility of CT players outside, making their player models stand out more. Moving on to the A site, we'll start with the skylights. These look very different to what they had before, with an actual structure behind the glass. This allows for much deeper flashes if you bounce them correctly, which weren't possible before. For some reason they removed the railing on T-roof, which is what I use for my old heaven smoke. But you can always still use the one from silo and it will work just the same. My smoke for main still works as well, which is quite nice to see. It lands perfectly and the lineup is actually even easier thanks to the new skylights. The hut window has been completely removed. I'm not too sure about this change, as it gave a lot of early opportunities for terrorists to go for a pick. Even in the late round you could punish CTs who rotated in and out of main. On the other hand, you no longer have to worry about being shot from main or close squeaky as you push on to the A site, but it creates a bigger problem with the lack of free movement. As a terrorist, you are now forced to all huddle through the hut exit one by one, which makes getting the trade vastly harder. The close squeaky position is actually more difficult to clear now, as you can't double peek it from hut and squeaky at the same time. Removing the window is just definitely a bad change for the terrorist side overall. Other changes to the A site include the bridge railing that is no longer accessible. They've moved it further above the hut and it's blocked off from both sides. This opens up more of the rafters, allowing CTs to sit in some pretty strong positions. This one here, for example, is OP. You're at such a horrible angle for anyone running out hut, as well as having the height advantage towards main. It is possible to sit the opposite side of the bridge with a boost. This position is fully covered from anyone running out hut, but it feels like more of a one and done spot than anything. The main rafter positions can of course be flashed, and I'm sure teams will adapt their molotovs when running executes. With the bridge being no longer accessible, the ladder it used to have has been removed as well. This means that rotations to heaven will be a lot slower, as you'll need a boost from a teammate to get up. Going into the B-bomb site now, we can see that they removed the railings. This is great as it improves visibility a ton, helping terrorists push onto the site. Unfortunately, it allows us to clearly see the next change, which is the box on the left hand side. This honestly tilts me so hard, as I can't see any reason why it's been added. The T side already have a multitude of angles they have to check when entering B site, and adding another one just seems rather unnecessary. Of course you can just molly it out, but that's one extra Molotov you could have used for the other 8 angles you can dive from. There are literally 8 other angles you have to check. 8 angles.
This is the worst!
The spawns have been moved forward for both teams. As to whether or not this will affect anything, I don't know. As long as Valve have moved both teams by the same amount, then it should just play out the same, but give the Ts a little more time to play with. So looking at the update overall, I'd say the changes are going to benefit the CT side a lot more. Hopefully it doesn't become what it used to be in the past, with ridiculously dominant 12-3 CT halves. Surprisingly, looking back at the past results of Nuke during the last 3 majors, the games have been fairly balanced between T and CT round wins. During E-League Atlanta, for example, it got played 7 times and was sat even at 50-50. Perhaps the previous version of Nuke was actually perfectly balanced and nobody realised.